welcome back to In My Humble Opinion with Rose. We are on to, oh my gosh, I believe it is episode 5. That has gone so fast already. I cannot believe it, but I'm having a blast. And thank you to those that are sharing the podcast and listening and tuning in. I have appreciated reading all the reviews that I've gotten so far. And if you have left a review, thank you so much. It has made my day and makes my heart happy every time I do read something. So I appreciate it. And so for today, I was going back and forth with what I want to talk about. And it has been a pretty hectic week. Let me tell you, between Thanksgiving and the holidays, all the family events, and then homework and school, and making sure editing gets done for this new podcast, it's been a lot of time management. And then also being a mom takes up a lot of energy. And when I was reflecting from last week's episode, when I had my first guest, Kylie, which was awesome, and I loved it, and I thought the episode turned out pretty good. I loved listening back to it, and all of the laughter that we had was absolutely beautiful, but we weren't able to touch too much on being present. And after this week, there were many times where I caught myself not being present, and I was reflecting a lot on the past or my anxiety about the future, and there was just so much going on in my mind. So as I was thinking about what I was going to do for this episode, I wanted to dive a little bit more into being present. And I didn't think I was going to be able to record today because this will release Friday. I'm recording Sunday and it's nighttime. As you can see, if you're watching the YouTube, I'm in my comfy clothes. It's also really cold outside, but I just needed to just de-stress and get into my comfy clothes and take the time that I needed to kind of prepare for this. So with being present, there is a lot that goes into it, and it's a lot harder to wrap your mind around than what others might think, especially for those that regularly practice it. It comes so naturally to them. And with living in the present moment, that is something that we're able to really connect to our inner happiness. And what it means to be living in the present moment, I have notes down. So if you catch me glancing at my computer, that's what I'm doing. Because like I said, my mind's been everywhere this weekend. So to me, being present, it means that you're just so fully conscious and engaged in what you are doing and experiencing in that exact moment in time. Even if that experience is hard, or you're currently battling something in your life. But those hard experiences are the ones that we really need to work on being more present for, because then we are able to fully feel what we need to feel instead of finding a distraction to take us away from that feeling or that hardship. And if we are fully present, we're able to ride that roller coaster basically into overcoming that obstacle that life has thrown at us. And if we're able to overcome that obstacle in a more present way, it actually helps reduce anxiety and stress, especially for what tomorrow might be like. So if we're not living in the future, we don't have to be experiencing the hardships of that problem that they bring to our mental health. And so I did a little research into how can you practice being present, especially if you're not regularly training, like becoming a monk or regularly going to yoga classes or meditation classes. And it's for those people that are on that go, go, go life, that they have so much to do and so little time for themselves and so little time to think for themselves and have that self-care. And so I wanted to find ways, especially for myself, because I'm a person that's go, 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 and I tend to people please a lot, which I am working on. I am working on finding time for myself to make sure I'm replenishing my inner well, basically, and doing the things that make me feel good for myself, that bring joy to my life. And so a lot of this research was for myself as well, to find in that moment in time how to become more present. So for me personally, the thing that I've always done to bring myself to my personal awareness, basically, is to figure out if my mind is where my body is at. And what I mean by that is is my mind in the exact moment that my body is experiencing. Even if it's doing chores or going grocery shopping or watching TV or doing this podcast, am I thinking about something that I have to do later? Am I thinking about something that has already happened, or am I fully in this moment? And so what I do, like, for example, if I'm doing dishes, right? Not the most fun activity to be doing on a daily occurrence, but when I'm doing it, am I just doing what I need to do, but I'm thinking about what I have to do in an hour? Or am I thinking about the homework that I have later on in that evening? Or am I thinking about the joy in what I am doing? And I know that is weird, and I know that sounds weird. And you're like, well, how can you find joy in doing dishes? Well, there is joy in that exact moment in time. And what I do if I find myself going off track of my moment is thinking, well, I've made progress. Look at all the dishes that I've done. Look at what I have done so far in the 5 minutes that I've been doing dishes. And then I go into thinking, this is going to be so great for me once I'm done, because then my environment is cleaner, right? So finding the little things in that. And I found techniques in my research to bring you back into that present moment that I would love to share with you guys. So some of the first things that I found are questions to be asking yourself in whatever it is that you're doing in that moment in time. And these are the questions that bring you back to your present moment and help you find appreciation for that moment. And so these questions are, I'm just going to read them and then kind of dwell on them a little bit. So the first question is my mind where my body is at in this exact moment in time? The next question is, what sensations can I feel in my body right now? And the last question that I found is, what is my breathing like? So for the first question, is my mind where my body is at in this exact moment in time, is what I have been practicing. Like my dishwashing example, what is my body doing and where is my mind at? And bringing that awareness to the separation that might be occurring. And so then for the next one, what sensations can I feel in my body right now? And that can just be the sounds that you hear around you, becoming more in tune to your environment and bringing new things to your awareness. So the sounds that are around you, or what is currently in your line of sight. What are you noticing in this exact moment in time? Or what smells might be coming up? So for me, where my kitchen is at when I'm dishwashing, I have this giant window in front of my sink. And if I find myself wandering off in my head, which let me tell you, happens a lot. It happens so much. And what I do is if I find myself wandering, I bring myself into, well, how's this water feeling? Is it hot? Is it warm? Do I need it warmer? So that immediately it brings me back into, okay, well, my body is washing dishes. How is the water feeling on my hands? How is the temperature? And then I always catch myself looking out the window, noticing different things. Oh, well, there's a raven, which where I live right now in this house, there are lots of ravens. Or, wow, it's really windy outside. And then I'll pick up the smell of the soap that I'm using, the new soap that I'm using. Or I'll pick up on the essential oils that I have in the diffuser in the other room. And so then suddenly I find myself almost becoming more calm within my body by bringing myself out of my head and more into what is around me right now. And then, of course, I notice myself breathing differently. And that's where the third question comes in to ask yourself is, what is my breathing like? And breathing plays such a huge part into our existence, right? If we couldn't breathe, we wouldn't be able to live. And what I find myself doing when I breathe, which I feel like a lot of people do, it's that short, shallow breathing. It's like we're like at work, I'm typing, because I do data entry. I'm typing away and I'm not taking deep breaths. And it's just that super short kind of breathing. And a lot of people do that because that's just what our body naturally does, especially if we are in a fixated mind of doing work or what other task we're trying to complete. Or even when we're sleeping, when we start to go to sleep, it becomes that short, shallow breathing. And when I bring myself to my awareness of noticing like the ravens or the different smells going on, I start to breathe deeper. And once I breathe deeper, I can automatically feel the anxiety and the stress just melting off of me, which is such a crazy thing to feel if you don't do it often. And it's almost like a relief because you just suddenly stop worrying. Like, how crazy is that? What a beautiful thing that just by breathing deeper and taking in a really deep breath and just letting it out slowly, you just feel all of that just ick coming off of you. And so that's just something that we can do regularly. And at work, I do that as much as I can. If I find myself becoming edgy or becoming just like, oh my gosh, this day is taking so long. I cannot believe how many orders I have coming in. Or as I'm doing homework, getting frustrated. If the moment I take a really nice deep breath, suddenly I'm just so much more centered within myself. And then the task that I'm doing isn't so daunting. So that's something that we should just be doing, is just breathing deeper on a regular basis, or at least catching ourselves when we start to fixate on the future or on the past, or telling ourselves these negative stories of our present moment. Taking in that deep breath and starting to train our bodies and our mind to do that automatically, so then we don't get so tense and bring negative things into our awareness, because that's no way to live life. We should be living life as stress-free and as anxiety-free and as beautifully as we can be, with so much positivity. And if we're able to just change that in the slightest way by breathing deeper, like, first of all, my question is, why isn't that talked about more? The fact that if we breathe differently, we can shed so much of that ickiness off of us and bring in more positivity into our awareness just by simple breath work. So that's something that I want to share with you guys that I am going to start doing just by breathing deeper. And I'm going to start taking notes, and maybe in a later episode, I can share with you guys how that's been impacting my life. And I'd love to hear your guys' point of views too. If you notice yourself getting into a negative headspace or going somewhere else in your head rather than being where you're supposed to be in that moment, and if you breathe differently, how is that affecting you? I would love your guys' stories on that, because I feel like the norm nowadays is to just have so much tension in ourselves and to be so distracted by so many things, like with our phones or what's on the TV or what's going on in someone else's life. We're so distracted and fixated on other things that don't impact our life in a very nice way. And with those distractions, we become so disconnected from us, from our inner selves. That takes away from the joy we're supposed to be feeling and experiencing. So adding in these practices, I feel like will be such a huge impact to so many lives. And so with that being said, with those simple questions to bring yourself into more awareness, I also wanted to read some short meditations that you could do that I'm just going to have written down at work that I can do really quick to bring myself out of my negative space and into my present, because I want to work a lot on being more present, because I know that'll be a healthier thing for me to do in my journey of life. So these quick meditations are from the website Balance. And I believe it's balancewithus.com. If you guys want to read these for yourselves, I'll include the link in the summary of this episode. So for number 1, it is a quick mindfulness meditation practice. All right, so here we go. So it says, the first one can be done whether you are sitting aside time to meditate or while you're busy with another task and notice that your mind has spiraled out of the moment and onto other things. This meditation helps you to anchor to the present moment. It is a quick reset, especially if you're experiencing any anxiety or reflecting on the past. It only takes a few seconds and can be done multiple times throughout your day as a reminder that this moment is exactly as it should be and you are okay. So it goes on to say, first, start by taking a couple deep breaths. Then begin to note what you see. Next, note any sounds you hear. Note the temperature and the way your clothes feel against your skin. Then note the taste in your mouth. Do this intentionally and name a few things for each of your 5 senses. Once you are completely present with your surroundings and any sensations, bring your focus back to your breath and create a mantra that validates the contentment you just created by becoming present to the moment, such as, I'm okay, I am grateful, all is well, And the example that they have for this mindfulness meditation is, I see the sun shining through my windows. I see the plants and the books around the room. The fan is on. I hear the birds chirping and people talking in the next room. I hear cars driving down the road. My clothes feel soft and comfortable. The temperature is just right in here and there is a slight breeze from the fan. I don't taste anything, but a cup of tea sounds good. All is well. I love that. That's kind of what I do, I guess, when I do dishes. Me noticing the temperature of the water or the crow outside, or noticing that there's a breeze from the leaves rustling in the trees, and then noticing the smells from either the soap or the essential oils going in the next room. And then taking that deep breath to center me back to the moment. And so if you do this even at work, if you take just 2 minutes just to take your deep breaths in and fill in your belly and then slowly exhale out and then pick up on what you're feeling. I first like to, because when I breathe in, I automatically close my eyes. So breathing in, and then I feel what the temperature is like. And then I take in, what am I hearing right now? And then the smells start coming in. So you go through all of your senses, and then you're able to open your eyes, and it's almost like it's lighter in your vision. And then all of that ickiness and that stress melts off of you. So that is a really good one to start practicing, and it doesn't take very much time at all. That is something that will be able to recenter you and ground you in whatever it is that you are doing. So the next one is counting the breath. And it says, this meditation is perfect for the times when your mind is busy and doesn't want to slow down. It can be so frustrating when you are trying to relax, focus, or just let go. But the chatter in the mind is going 90 miles per hour. This practice is also beneficial when trying to regulate the nervous system, when the fight or flight mechanism gets triggered, by focusing the mind on counting and breathing. What you are doing is creating space between you and the thoughts. This meditation is a practice of noticing and choosing where your focus goes. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices. I'm going to read that one more time. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices. And it says, first, start by finding a comfortable seated or lying position. If seated, plant both feet on the ground. Begin by inhaling and counting to 1. Next, exhale and count to 2. Inhale and count to 3, and repeat this until you get to 10. Then begin again at 1. Inhale on the odd numbers and exhale on the even numbers. If you lose count or count past 10 and notice, just begin at 1 again. That rhymes. Just begin at 1 again. If you notice your mind stops focusing on counting and drifts off into thoughts, no judgment, just notice and begin again. Do this until you are satisfied and ready to begin new tasks with a sense of peace, presence, and contentment. So that is a good one. So what that is saying is, if you find yourself feeling a lot of anxiety or stress, or you have so many thoughts going on, which is exactly what I do, by the way, my mind just does not stop going. So many things are going in at the same time, and I'm processing so many different things that it is hard for me to stay present. And so doing this and just doing the breath work, what that is trying to do is reprogram your thinking. And so once we reprogram our thinking and reprogramming how we handle our stresses, this will be something that you automatically start doing. And what a great thing that is, that you don't have to think about it, you just start doing it. And for the third one is called moving meditation. And it goes, this moving meditation is creative and perfect for when your mind just does not want to focus on anything except worry, stress, or the to-dos. It's the practice of getting you out of your head and back into your body. There's no way to do this wrong, and it's a brilliant way to tap into your body's intuition and bring balance between the mind and the body. And it says, first, start by sitting and bring an awareness to your breath. Begin to stretch any way that feels good to your body. Hold each stretch for 15 to 20 seconds. Bring your awareness to the physical sensations and breathe into any tensions held in the body. Release any tension as you exhale, surrendering to each stretch. Listen to your body and stretch each body part while maintaining a steady breath. Stretch in ways that feel good and follow your intuition into movements that support you and nurture your body. It's important not to strain yourself. There should be no major pain or shaking involved. This moving meditation is about self-soothing and bringing attention to everything below your neck and shoulders. Follow your breath and stretches until you feel complete and your mind is at a rest. So I love that. That one's a little harder to do in places like work when there's other people around you, unless you do not care. Then kudos to you, and I am so proud of you for doing that. So that one is saying when your mind starts to have those negative thoughts enter, or you find yourself filling with that anxiety and stress, to start just by slowly stretching and breathing into it and holding it for 15 to 20 seconds and feeling that stretch and breathing into it and surrendering. I love that word. That was something that in the last episode 3 with Kylie, how she was surrendering to her traumas and fully taking in her traumas, which is such a beautiful thing to experience when you're confident enough in your being to be able to surrender to those things and feel it and experience it wholeheartedly. That is something that brings you to the present. And that's something that we mentioned earlier in this episode, is really feeling that roller coaster of whatever emotions that may come from any hardships in your life or any obstacles life might be throwing your way, and fully taking them in and processing them. So then you don't worry about them, because once you process them and overcome them, why else should they be living in your brain and taking space in your mind, rent free, basically, right? And so when you find yourself doing that, just stretching and moving your body, because that has so many great benefits, just getting rid of that tension that might be held up in your body that you don't know is there, and bringing awareness to that. So those 3 simple meditation practices, just to improve your well-being and train your mind in a new way to stay present, that will be such a wild thing to have happen automatically once it becomes your norm in processing stresses or anxiety. So I hope you guys took something from my research that I will be doing myself. And and when I say that I would love to hear your stories if you start practicing these things, I really do mean that. I would love to do an episode in the future of what our personal benefits and experiences were from these things. So if you do any of these simple meditations, or even just asking yourself those questions to become more present and noticing how your life is affected by those things, please send those to getmyhumbleopinion@gmail.com, or you can even DM the podcast at IMHO with Rose on Instagram or TikTok. So then we can share our experiences and hopefully impact other people in that way. So as always, I would like to share a quote with you. And this quote is from Eckhart Tolle. These names, you guys, I swear. Eckhart, Eckhart, Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle, which is Tolle. So at least that way, if I spell it out, if they happen to come across this, they're not like, well, that was wrong. You didn't even try to do that properly. Look at me worrying about the future. And so Eckhart Tolle, and it goes, unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. I'm going to read that one more time. Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. And again, that's Eckhart Tolle. So when I came across that quote, I had to read it a few times to fully take in what I think the message is. And I feel like it works so perfectly with this episode of being present. And what I've touched on in previous episodes is when we stress and worry about our future, which are forms of fear, we're fearing for what life has coming, or we're fearing for those what ifs. If our mindset is in those what ifs, we are not able to appreciate the moment we are in. and that's caused by too much future. And then when we are in our past, dwelling on our past and not able to take a step through a door or into a new chapter or even into the next day in a clear, empty, positive awareness, and we're living in that guilt, regret, resentment, and sadness, then how are we supposed to be able to go forward in our life if we're constantly living in our past? And so if we're constantly living in our past, then obviously we're not being present at all, because we're constantly reflecting and are allowing our minds to do that. Because whatever thoughts come into our head, we are allowing that to happen. And so if any of those thoughts come into our head, these trainings, hopefully, or even just the questions to bring yourself to the present, are you basically telling your mind, this is not happening. I am sorry, but you are not allowed to live here rent free. You are not affecting my life in a positive way. We have lived the past, we have lived that experience and process it and fully overcome it. And then why should we worry about our future if we don't even know what's to come? So if we're worrying about our future, we're not able to appreciate our present moment. And so once you tell your mind, sorry, you can't be here anymore, and start doing those questions or even just breathing deeper, you're able to take those out of your head and start enjoying the little things in your present. And like I said, even if it's a hardship in your life, if you're able to be in your presence, then you're able to fully overcome whatever it is you're experiencing, instead of distracting yourself and allowing yourself to become distracted by going out and doing something, or when that thought happens, going to your phone, thinking that you'll just forget about it, because we don't ever forget about the things that affect our life in a negative way. We just temporarily distract ourselves and numb ourselves to it, and it's going to pop up in our head later. Whereas if we fully feel and fully process it for what it is in that moment in time, and tell ourselves that was an experience, and find the lesson and say thank you for that experience, then we are able to move forward with our life without having to hold on to that resentment anymore. Because resentments, what was it, the thing my mom used to say? Resentments cause illness. And it is true, even if it affects your sleeping patterns or if it affects your moods going on into your life. If you have any resentments or any anger or any guilt or anything, then that's not going to do anything positive for you. And you do not deserve that kind of life. You deserve the life that has light into it, to where you can start your day with a smile on your face and enjoy the little things that you're supposed to enjoy, rather than living in that anger and resentment. So if you process it and you get through it in the now, you will be able to do that. So I hope you took away that message from this episode, because you all deserve the best life you can possibly live. You all deserve such positive and beautiful experiences. And that's what I want for you guys. And that's my mission for you guys, is to share the little knowledge that I know in my experiences and my opinions with you. So then hopefully this average girl, this average small town gal, right, can say it works for me, and I'm just sharing my message to you. And then if it works for you, I hope you share that message to someone else that needs it as well. So then we just start this positive chain in life with the people that matter most to us, because you do matter to me. I may not know you personally, but if you're listening to this, there is a reason. There is a reason why you are here. And I thank you for being here. So with that being said, you guys, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hold so much gratitude for those that do tune in every week, and for those that leave reviews and ratings or sharing them with your friends. I appreciate all of that. So let's spread this message to other people, and let's affect lives in a positive way and share light and put smiles on people's faces, because as always, you're all beautiful, beautiful people. And I really hope you start realizing that within yourself. So I hope you have a beautiful weekend, you guys, and it is full of all the positive experiences, and you're able to find some time in your busy days to breathe deep and bring more awareness to your life of what you're experiencing in the now. So then you can train yourself to become more present and appreciate life as it is in this moment in time. Alrighty, you guys. Thank you.